Now get up, you are going to church. Can't the preacher come here sometimes?
What happens when the funniest kid in a big Southern family dreams bigger than the church pews and dusty porches of Decatur, Georgia? Picture a sparkling saltwater pool under the Georgia sun, a quiet porch framed by vintage brick arches. This isn't a Hollywood set. This is Chris Tucker's life today. Far from flashing lights and chaos, he's found peace behind wrought iron gates and whispering trees. Today, we're stepping into Chris Tucker's private world. His homes, his cars, his fortune, and the soul behind the comedy. But before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe. You won't want to miss this. Chris was born August 31st, 1971, the youngest of 6 in Atlanta, a city alive with music, soul, and quiet ambition. His father ran a small cleaning business, and his mother raised the kids with the strict but heartfelt guidance of the Pentecostal church. Even as a boy, Chris had one mission: make people laugh. Whether it was an Eddie Murphy impression or a perfect Michael Jackson moonwalk, he had it down. Teachers noticed. Friends expected it. But for Chris, comedy was more than fun. It was power, escape, and a ticket out. Out to where? By the early 1990s, he had his answer: Los Angeles. Another hopeful comic hitting the stages of smoky clubs, but Chris was different. His voice, high-pitched, electric, his presence, magnetic, his delivery, rapid-fire yet soulful. He started turning heads. In 1992, the nation noticed. HBO's Def Comedy Jam gave him a platform, and America laughed along. House Party 3 in 1994 opened doors, but the real breakout came in 1995 with Friday, starring alongside Ice Cube. One word: damn. Cemented him in pop culture. His character, Smokey, was chaotic, hilarious, and human. Off-screen, Chris was making career choices that defined him. He turned down sequels, not out of ego, but faith. He didn't want to glorify weed or repeat himself. That was Chris, driven by conscience as much as comedy. Hollywood kept calling. In 1997, he hit the international stage with The Fifth Element and Money Talks. From The Boy in Georgia, he now stood alongside Bruce Willis, owning the spotlight. Then came Rush Hour in 1998. Detective James Carter opposite Jackie Chan's Inspector Lee. East meets West. Chaos meets calm. The film exploded. By Rush Hour 2, Chris earned $20 million. Rush Hour 3, $25 million plus 20% of the gross, making him the highest-paid actor in Hollywood comedy. So what do you do with that kind of fame? Some spiral, some shine. Chris, he retreated. From 2007 to 2011, he almost vanished from screens. Whispers circulated, tax issues, silence, faith, but maybe, just maybe, he was finding something deeper. He returned in 2012, not with a bang, but with quiet grace. In Silver Linings, he didn't steal the spotlight. He owned every scene with subtlety, sharpness, and sincerity. He wasn't chasing box office fame. He was acting, really acting. In the years that followed, Chris became selective. He toured with stand-up, traveled, gave back. Then, in 2023, he surprised the world again, this time as Howard White, a Nike executive in a story of basketball, branding, and belief. It wasn't a comeback, it was a reintroduction. From a kid cracking jokes in a crowded living room to a man who made Hollywood pause and listen. From comedy clubs to multi-million-dollar contracts. From rush hour chaos to quiet mornings in Georgia. Chris Tucker's journey isn't about fame. It's about faith, family, and finding peace. And maybe that's why, when he finally chose a home, it wasn't in Beverly Hills, it was Georgia, minutes from where it all began. But what does a $2.5 million southern mansion look like for someone who once ruled Hollywood? Let's step inside. When the spotlight fades, what does a comedy king crave? For Chris, it's a $2.5 million brick sanctuary tucked in Atlanta. Silence here isn't empty, it's golden. Elegance over excess, laughter that comes from within, not a studio. A gated entrance hints at privacy and peace. Iron fences hug the property. A long, manicured driveway leads to the front door. Step inside, and serenity replaces security. The formal living room welcomes you with cream walls, warm hardwood, and wide windows letting in Georgia sunlight. Conversation is king here. Nearby, the dining room, under a tasteful chandelier, isn't made for show. It's built for quiet dinners. The heart of the house? The kitchen. Custom cabinets, thermidor appliances, a sweeping center island, part command center, part morning refuge. Behind it, a walk-in pantry with a second fridge keeps everything ready for family, not crowds. Off the kitchen, the family room is spacious yet cozy, anchored by a fireplace, flooded with light. You can picture Chris here, relaxing, watching old Michael Jackson concerts, just being. A short hallway leads to the 3-car garage and a flexible guest room that doubles as a private office, a space for jokes, scripts, or solitude. Upstairs, the master suite is a private retreat. Sitting area, Juliet balcony, and a small office hidden behind vintage barn doors. The master bath, dual vanities, soaking tub, marble double shower, and a walk-in closet that feels like a boutique. 4 additional bedrooms offer comfort and quiet, while the laundry room turns chores into something almost graceful. The finished attic adds versatility, a gym, craft room, or second family room, plus a full bath and storage space. But the soul of this home is the backyard, a covered terrace framed in brick arches, bluestone floors, wood-burning fireplace, and mounted outdoor TV. Beyond that, a saltwater pool and spa under the southern sky, a gentle waterfall as constant as a well-lived life. This isn't a party house, it's a healing house. Chris Tucker could have chosen any mansion in LA or penthouse in New York, but he chose a home with roots, rhythm, and quiet power. A place where silence speaks louder than applause. Next, let's fly west and see what kind of home Chris keeps when he's on the other coast, and how it compares to this southern sanctuary. Georgia may be where Chris Tucker finds peace, but Los Angeles, that's where the performance lingers. Hidden high above the valley on one of Woodland Hill's most coveted streets, his other home is quieter than you'd expect for a Hollywood star. But don't be fooled, this house knows how to shine. Set on over 14,000 square feet, the 3,600 square foot residence isn't just for living, it's for creating, entertaining, and thriving. Step through the double doors, and sunlight floods the space, bouncing off polished wood floors and crisp white walls. Clean, bright, effortless. The drama of Hollywood is left at the gate. The sunken living room flows naturally into the formal dining area, perfect for laughter, late-night stories, and friends from the sets. Slide open the glass doors, and indoor meets outdoor. A backyard oasis awaits, a resort-style pool, spa, and panoramic valley views. As dusk falls, LA lights sparkle below like applause, a quiet reminder that Tucker has conquered the city. Inside, the kitchen is understated yet refined, designed for flow over flash. Every room opens to the next. Every window frames light, not walls. The main floor also holds a bonus room, office, game room, or extra bedroom. Flexibility mirrors Tucker himself, actor, comedian, humanitarian. A private guest suite sits down the hall, ready for family or visiting friends. Upstairs, the primary suite is cathedral-like. Vaulted ceilings, private balcony, city below. The ensuite bathroom is a spa-like haven. Minimalist lines, modern features, and even a 4-person sauna. For someone who's spent decades sprinting through life, this is stillness made tangible. 3 more bedrooms share the upper level, 2 connected by a balcony, whispering that the home could hold a family, maybe someday, maybe not. Every detail reflects the in-between. Not a mansion for status, not a retreat for hiding. This is a home for balance, work and rest, hustle and stillness. For Chris Tucker, who dances between stand-up and the silver screen, between fame and personal conviction, Georgia grounds him, and LA lets him float. One home holds soul, the other possibility. Neither defines him, but both show who he's become. Outside of real estate, there's another place where Chris Tucker's personality really shines: on the road. Let's pop the garage door and meet the machines that move him, because you can tell a lot about a person by the way they drive. Not just the speed or the brand, but the way they hold the wheel, the routes they choose when no one's watching, and the memories they carry behind the glass. Chris Tucker's garage doesn't shout, it whispers. Stylish, understated, and full of stories. A man who once raced through fame now knows exactly when to hit the brakes. First up, the Aston Martin DB9. This isn't just a car, it's a statement. Quiet confidence, pure elegance, and a power that doesn't need to prove itself. For Chris, the DB9 wasn't just a purchase, it was a punctuation mark, a moment of arrival. After skyrocketing to fame, he wanted something that matched who he was becoming. Composed, refined, but still fiery under the hood. With its 6.0-liter V12, the DB9 doesn't just drive, it glides. Its silver curves hug the road, while a handcrafted interior of leather and walnut wraps the driver in understated luxury. This is a car you don't show off. It's the car you drive when you've got nothing left to prove. Then, there's the Aston Martin V8 Vantage Roadster, a different energy entirely. If the DB9 is refinement, the V8 is freedom unleashed. Open top, 4.3-liter V8, and a roar that matches the sunniest days. This car is pure rhythm. Chris has always moved to a beat: comedy, dance, life itself. And the Vantage is his perfect partner. Agile, punchy, and unapologetically loud when it wants to be, it's cinematic in motion. This car isn't about the destination, it's about presence, about living fully in the moment. And then, the Cadillac Escalade, the quiet powerhouse. Not every day is about speed. Some days are about space, comfort, and subtle authority. This is a car built for memories, for friends, family, and life's quiet moments. With its 6.2-liter V8 and 3 rows of plush leather seats, it's perfect for long drives back to Georgia, quick escapes from LA, or just sitting still and taking it all in. The Escalade shows another side of Chris: the protector, the provider, the man who isn't performing but is fully present. For his son, for himself, for anyone lucky enough to ride shotgun. Maybe that's why it stays parked in Georgia. It belongs where he does. The paydays were legendary. The lifestyle, just as bold. Private jets, lavish homes, luxury watches, designer threads, generous gifts to friends and family. But here's what often gets overlooked. Chris Tucker didn't work for 5 years after Rush Hour 3. Not arrogance, not burnout, principle. His faith made him selective. His gut told him to slow down. And in Hollywood, saying no eventually stops the money from calling. By 2011, the headlines changed. Chris Tucker owed the IRS over $2.5 million in back taxes. It wasn't scandal, it wasn't wild living, it was mismanagement. Poor accounting and questionable financial guidance caught up with him. A harsh reminder that fame doesn't automatically equal financial wisdom. By 2021, the IRS filed a lawsuit demanding $9.6 million in unpaid taxes and penalties spanning multiple years. But Chris didn't run. In 2023, he reached a settlement of $3.6 million, closing the chapter and reclaiming control. Today, Chris Tucker's net worth sits around $5 million, a fraction of what it once was, but enough for a man who now measures wealth in peace rather than square footage. He's not chasing blockbusters anymore. He's moving deliberately. Stand-up tours, select film roles, smart choices. His Georgia home is paid for. His LA mansion is modest by Hollywood standards, but perfectly him. His cars aren't for show, they're for soul. This isn't a fall from grace, it's a conscious retreat from chaos. Sometimes, the greatest flex isn't flaunting wealth, it's knowing when to stop flexing. There's one thing Chris Tucker has never stopped doing, no matter how many zeros showed up in his bank account: giving. Philanthropy didn't start with a Hollywood agent, a fancy gala, or a celebrity invitation. It started with a phone call from his mother, just her, reminding him of something simple but profound. If God gave you the gift to make people laugh, He probably wants you to help people too. And that's exactly what Chris Tucker did. Far from the camera flashes, in the heart of Stockbridge, Georgia, he founded the Chris Tucker Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to lifting up children, families, and underserved communities. Its mission isn't flashy, it's precise. Scholarships, shelter, second chances. That's what he invests in. That's what matters. At the core of the foundation is a heart for the forgotten. It's for kids who grow up like Chris did, surrounded by limits, but full of light. Every year, the foundation awards thousands in college scholarships, often to HBCUs like Payne College, helping students cross the bridge from dream to diploma. But education is only the beginning. The foundation also backs churches, food banks, and youth programs. From the Church of God in Christ to New Life Tabernacle, Chris helps families in crisis with food, shelter, and dignity. During the cold months, the foundation distributes blankets and winter gear to Atlanta's homeless, people Chris has never stopped seeing, no matter how high he rose. The impact is tangible. In 2023, the foundation reported $439,000 in revenue, with $311,000 going directly to charitable programs. Most of the money reaches the people who need it most. Not office chairs or glossy plaques, no galas, no paparazzi, just quiet, purposeful giving. Chris doesn't stop at home. He gives globally. As an ambassador for the Heal Los Angeles Foundation, he's stood alongside leaders tackling homelessness, food insecurity, and domestic violence. He's traveled to Africa to support HIV/AIDS awareness campaigns. He speaks not as a celebrity, but as someone who's seen the difference timely help can make. One organizer at the Milken Institute Global Conference 2025 summed it up perfectly. Chris Tucker is a humanitarian who happens to be funny. And maybe that's the truest description yet. When asked why he gives, he smiles, shrugs, and tells the story of his mother's voice, of his faith, of the people who lifted him along the way. And then he says something simple but unforgettable. We do what we can, when we can. If someone's in need and we have the means, then why wouldn't we? No press releases, no applause required. In a world of performative giving, Chris Tucker's generosity is different. It's not for the stage. It's for the soul, because long after the laughs fade and the cameras stop rolling, a man's true legacy isn't measured in movies. It's measured in the lives he's touched. So who is Chris Tucker, really? Beyond the fame, the mansions, the million-dollar smile, who is the man behind it all? Let's pull back the curtain on his personal life, his inner circle, and the quieter rhythms that define his world today. Take his personal life. Not long ago, Chris stood on a sold-out comedy stage. He took the mic, scanned the crowd, and smiled, not with the thrill of someone chasing laughs, but with the calm confidence of a man who knows exactly who he is. Because these days, Chris Tucker doesn't live for the spotlight. He lives for something far more personal. At the center of it all is his son, Destin. Born from a past relationship with fitness expert Asia Pryor, Destin isn't the boy we once saw in paparazzi shots. He's grown into his own person, studying film, following his creative passions, and Chris is right there, not just as a father, but as a quiet mentor. They travel together, they share stories, they talk about life and the business, not from the glitz, but from the truth. In interviews, Chris calls fatherhood his greatest role, and when he speaks about Destin, you understand why. Faith, too, runs deep. Raised in a Pentecostal household, Chris still carries that fire. He doesn't drink. He avoids profanity in his stand-up, not for show, not for the market, but because it's who he is. A man who knows his audience includes families, teens, and church groups. People who find laughter in life without needing to be shocked into it. He credits God not just for his success, but for his survival. In quiet moments, whether on the terrace of his Georgia home or between flights, he prays, not loudly, not for show, just sincerely. Chris isn't chasing the next blockbuster, he's chasing balance. Because in the quiet corners of his life, Chris Tucker has found something many never do. A way to be successful without being consumed, to give without being drained, and to laugh and really mean it. If Chris Tucker's story moved you, if his journey from the spotlight to stillness reminded you of what truly matters, hit that subscribe button. There are more lives to explore, more truths to uncover, and more quiet legends waiting just behind closed doors.